Okay, so I'm starting the video now, and what we've done so far is just we've shared the podcast. If you were not here today, then you need to make sure that you are sharing, that you write out a summary, a paragraph summary, and that summary to. I'm starting the video. Sorry, hold on. Echoing in the background. There we go. But you're just going to be writing a summary about the podcast that you listen to. And for the people who are here today, if you didn't give the presentation, that's what you're doing too, obviously. So the reason why I had you listen to a podcast was because you guys are going to be recording your own podcast in this class. We will be doing it periodically throughout the class. So I wanted you to hear what other people do in their podcast just to kind of get a sense of how it sounds, how it flows. Just to know that it's okay if it gets off topic occasionally, but it does need to make sure that it gets back to the topic as well, and that the majority of the episode should be related to the topic you're discussing. So what we're going to be doing is we are going to be shifting away from traditional like fiction, and we're going to start to look at a little bit of mythology. Now, most of you are probably used to Greek mythology because that's what most people tend to focus on when they think of mythology. They think of like Greek mythology, like that you probably studied in junior high. I'm not sure if you guys got to the Odyssey last year as freshmen because of the shutdown. I don't know if you'd already read it, but that would be under Greek mythology too. Obviously, a lot of people have read the Percy Jackson book, so people know about a lot about Greek mythology through that as well. But this is world literature, and while I know Greek mythology is technically in the world as well, it's outside of this country, but it's still kind of that like very much the white consciousness, European consciousness, and I want to make sure that we not just focus on Europe, that I'm letting you guys see different mythology from around the globe too, different part like Africa, Native Americans, Asia. So I'm giving you guys that opportunity, and you guys are going to get to choose the myths that you are going to listen or that you're going to read. All the myths are only like a page to 2 pages, I want to say. So we aren't really going to be covering Greek mythology, so it's going to be exposing you to something new. All of these myths that we're going to read are considered creation myth, and a creation myth is just how it sounds. It's the creation of the world, creation of the universe, creation of that culture. And when you talk about creation myths, there's a lot of commonality in a lot of them. There's a lot of differences too, but there are different things that are the same. One of the things that's the same is that they will reflect the values of those people. So when we talk about values for a culture, like in American culture, some values that people would consider to be American values would be like independence, individuality, capitalism, just the idea of freedom itself. There's also some more negative, and even then, some of those might have been considered negative depending on your viewpoint. But obviously, I feel that probably racism is unfortunately a value of our country. It's not a good one. It's a value we're trying to eradicate. So it is something that is unfortunately one of our values as this country. You can't deny the history of America without, thinking about racism. But so you're going to look at like, what do these different cultures value? What are some of the values that they have? Like what's important to them? Maybe it's an aspect of nature. Maybe it's a idea of gender role. So who is it, a patriarchy, meaning that the men are in charge, or a matriarchy, meaning that the women are in charge? So those are the kinds of things you want to be thinking about as you're reading this. So it is going to be first come, first serve. Some people can do the same myth, but you're not going to be partners. Only 2 people can do the same myth though. So I'm going to go ahead and change my screen. And I'm going to go back to our Canvas page and share that with you. So we're going to go to modules, and we're going to go to this week. We're actually going to skip to Thursday, though, of this week. That's where I had the assignment originally. And you're going to click on where it says pick a myth. Okay, so you're going to click on where it says period 5 sign-up sheet. Some of you might already be in there. Nope, not yet. So you're going to open this document up. So everybody's got, I do see a couple people in there, and you're going to pick whichever one looks the most interesting to you. Now, there are all links to the stories here, but there are also links to the stories in Canvas under this week's resources. So sign up for the one you want. You will be basically this Thursday. What we're going to be doing is we're going to record a podcast, and during the live lesson on Thursday, I'll be explaining how to record a podcast on Anchor with other people. And you're basically going to talk about your two different myths. You're going to talk about what each myth was about. You're going to explain what like it showed about that culture. And then you're going to talk about similarities and differences between the two myths you read after hearing one another describe them. It shouldn't be locked. Everybody, it looks like most people are in it. Make sure you're going to the one that says pick a myth, and then make sure that you're going to it through module. So as long as you go to module week 8, go to where it says pick a myth, not myth podcast, but pick a myth. You should be able to access this. Okay, so this is going to be how you get your participation points for today for just being in class. So everybody needs to make sure that they put their name down, and that way I can give you points for being here today. And then once you do this, if you guys can exit out of the document, just because it can slow other people's bandwidth and internet down. So we want to make sure that we're not tying too much data up for people by having everybody stay in here. So once you're in there, put your name and then go ahead and exit the document. All right. So far, it looks like we have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. We have 14 people. So that's about half of the people in here. So again, if you want to get points for being here today, you need to make sure that you are logging in, going to this assignment. Jacob, the reason why it's not working is you have to first of all make sure that you are logged in into Chrome or Safari or whatever you're using into as your Sanger USD account. So if you switch back and forth between your personal Gmail and your school Gmail, just make sure that you're logged into the same one. So you should be able to access it. But I will put it in the chat just to be on the safe side. Okay, so here's a link to the sign up sheet. Looks like we're almost there with everybody. So, all right, while people are finishing that up, I am going to go back to talking about like what your homework is for tonight. Again, so if you did not give a presentation today, your homework is to make sure that you write out your paragraph summary about the podcast you listen to. So that is due tonight. For this one, you just basically need to read the podcast or read the mythology that you chose that you signed up for. And then you're going to consider these questions. So what culture does your podcast belong to, or does your myth belong to? Who created the universe? How did they create it? What values did you learn from this myth about its culture? So like, what did you learn about these people based off of this story? So remember that all of these myths, I'm I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing real quick. All of these myths were once these cultures' religions. That's how most myths start off as, is basically being their religion. And over time, people stop believing them. And with creation myths in particular, basically they're, sorry, hold on a second. The myths are basically, the creation myths were ways for people to like explain the world around them. They didn't have the scientific advancement. They didn't even have the scientific methodology of trying to figure stuff out. So they created stories that explained the world around them, that made sense of it. A lot of people have said it's kind of an evolutionary trait of humans is to like try to make sense of things and understand how things work. It's part of how we've advanced as a people in general. So, but anyways, I'm going to go ahead and stop the live stream right now.